Hi guys, Tim here doing another military history video for you today, and this one will be on the Dardanelles campaign, or as you guys know it, or as everybody else knows as, the Gallipoli campaign, which of course was fought on the Turkish peninsula, which is Gallipoli, which is, I will actually quickly show you before I go into this, if I open it up, there. This is sometime after the battle when they've actually captured and set all the tents up there. So, now, the Gallipoli campaign, or Dardanelles campaign, was the campaign to open up or retake kind of the Dardanelles Straits, which is the Black Sea. That's where the Dardanelles is. It's a shipping route for Russia and others like Britain, mainly Russia, for supplies like ammunition, food, and all things like that. It was a combined operation by the Anzacs, the Australian and New Zealand Army Corps, the British, and some tiny bit of French colonials as well. And now what I've got here is a little collar badge, First World War era collar badge. Sadly, I've only got the one of the Australian kind of Imperial Force, Commonwealth Imperial Force badge here. Now this would have actually, of course, been two of the little collar. Now the cap badge of this would have been just like the New Zealand one, which I don't have at the moment. Would be, of course, bigger, roughly about that big. And now the commanders involved was for the British, Lord Kitchener. For the Australians, who kind of really was a British officer, really, but he commanded the Australian / Anzacs, really, was what's his name? Was Ian Hamilton, yeah. And so it was, so basically before the actual whole dark campaign was erupted, on February 19th, 1915, there was a combined, which is 42, combined British and French naval bombardment of the fort, of Gallipoli itself, which is, again, just like First World War tactics, soften up the enemy. And really Gallipoli was kind of, they would strike at Gallipoli, kind of just have another door open for the Allied to win the war, really, in a little sense. So the Allied landings of the Anzacs and British forces / Frenchish was on April 25th, 1915, with over 50,000 men in total. Of course, British, Anzac, Frenchish, landing. And now what happened is the British landed at a place called Cape Helles, which that's Cape Helles there. Which kind of, if you have the maps, if you have the straits down there, Cape Helles is there, right at the bottom, and then you had the Anzacs, Australian New Zealanders, landing at Gaba Tiep or Gaba Tipi, also known as Anzac Cove, which was up here. And the kind of thing was to Anzacs to push up where they had a lot more of the brutal machine guns, artillery, mortars, rifle fire come down from the Ottoman Empire, the Turks, or as the Australians nicknamed Johnny Turks, downwards, pushing right up, and then the British, of course, coming up like that. But when they got to kind of this part, they got again entrenched, like every other nation did for the First World War. So a big trench network was like that, and they had their stalemate. And now, I haven't got much time on my camera left, so I'm going to skip a bit. So when they did that, that was roughly by August time, and now they had a big offensive planned, known as the August Offensive, to break this deadlock, this stalemate, which has happened upon them. Which was again the August offensive, which lasted from the 12th, no, it wasn't now, the 6th to the 12th of August, which you had famous battles like the Battle of the Neck, Battle of Lone Pine, you know, which a lot of them ultimately failed. The whole offensive failed, that's why. So by December, winter had set in, Christmas time had come, and the commanders had just said, look, you know, Lord Kitchener, Ian Hamilton had just said, look, that's it. We're losing loads of men, we can't do anything, so in December 15, which this just say lasted till January 1916, the 9th of Jan. So by December they had to kind of retreat, like this is kind of the First World War version of Dunkirk, in a sense. So by December they had to just Anzacs, British, retreat from the trenches, really, kind of retreat, make their escape. And whilst they were doing that, they were having taken the Ottomans off guard, having rifle fire just up in the air, so it looks like to keep the enemy's heads down. They had mannequins, they had inventions, kind of like they had the rifle periscope, trench periscope, things like that, created. So yeah, and so by the end, so by the 9th of January 1916, a good, as I said, 50 plus men went ashore. There was roughly about, say, 300,000 casualties for the the Commonwealth, the Anzac, the New Zealanders, the Anzacs, the British, and then for the Turkish, the Ottomans, there was, say, about 290,000 men, and this is become known in Australian Anzac and British military history, is known as, again, like Dunkirk and the Somme and Mons. It was absolutely terrible failure, useless. Yes, and also on the Gallipoli, on the Turkish side, their forces were commanded by a guy called Enver Pasha. And then the Turkish, of course, what the Australians and British had. They had SMG Mark IIIs. The Turkish, the Ottomans had old German Mauser Gewehr 98s being all supplied them. They basically wore German equipment, really. So yeah, that's been a little military history video for you today, guys. Sorry it's been a short one, of the Dardanelles campaign, also known as Gallipoli. So, thanks for watching, guys. See ya, and bye.